सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Welcome, my dear friends. Welcome again on this episode of My Yatra, the journey to the divine self. As I look outside the window, I am just feeling so nostalgic about the fall season, right? And some season they don't arrive just on the outside, but they arrive inside us as well. And for me, fall has always been one of those seasons. Like even now when the air turns crisp and the leaves begin to fall slowly, delicately, almost joyfully, I'm always taken back to a memory I hold so close that it warms me from the inside. It's the memory of me writing long handwritten letters to my mother. Yes, back when handwritten letters was still our language. I'd sit near the window surrounded by this beautiful fall glow, and the light would come inside from the window, just pouring onto the paper and letting me write everything that I was just discovering about this new country that I called home. I wanted my parents to feel that magic, that quiet joy, the sense that life was changing, but changing into something really beautiful. And I remember holding some leaves that would be in the midst of turning colors, and like one single leaf could have colors of the bright red, the golden yellow, still shades of green. It's like as though nature couldn't decide, so it simply held on to everything at once. And these leaves always fascinated me. They didn't cling on to the tree even when they were in their most beautiful element. They didn't resist the wind. They did not mourn what was ending. Instead, they surrendered very gracefully, trusting the process, trusting the rhythm, trusting that letting go was not a loss. It was just a transition. Back then, I didn't know that this was a metaphor for my own life, for leaving my homeland, for finding my footing in this unfamiliar soil, for becoming someone new while still honoring where I came from. And it was as though my parents had let go of me. It was like those leaves, not in sorrow, but in faith. And in that release is what I became who I am today. So fall has been teaching this lesson for years, even before I knew I had the language for it. And when you trust the process, remember, when you trust the process, life flourishes when we stop clinging. Life expands when we stop resisting. And life just flows when we make space for it. And yet, most of us don't live this way. Most of us live in the opposite energy, the energy of holding on, the energy of controlling, overthinking, overworking, and completely exhausting ourselves in the name of survival or success, especially women, especially leaders, and especially those who appear like they have their lives put together on the outside, yet on the inside, you just feel fragile. You just feel so broken. So today I want to take you through a journey, the one that mirrors the fall season and what happens when you trust the process. Because as you just saw, when you trust the process, it's a flow. But when you don't trust the process, it leads to a breakdown. So today we're going to talk about this journey from how we are in that broken state, but you can transform yourself to a balanced state. You can go from feeling forced to feeling like just go with the flow. You can transform yourself from clinging to simply allowing life to happen. And we begin at the most honest place, where the pain points we rarely admit, right? So admit the truth. What is the truth? So we are really burnt out from holding on too tight. So if you are one of those high achieving women who's listening, the ones who lead fearlessly, the ones who hold families together, the ones who are the problem solvers for most people before they even know that the problem exists, you've already solved it, right? You're the strong one. You're the resilient one. You're the one that everybody depends on. And you, my dear friend, are also the woman who wonders quietly at night, why do I feel so tired when I haven't even slowed down? Yes, on one hand, the world praises you for your strength, your capabilities, your adaptability. But what they don't see is at what cost are you doing this? They don't see the emotional exhaustion that you carry like an invisible luggage. They don't see the pieces of yourself that you're giving away in every room you enter. They don't see how far you bend behind in so many different directions that you're pulled into. And yet, somehow, you've just somehow kept it up together on the outside, but you are broken on the inside. And they definitely don't see you clinging, right? Because we're clinging on to those, we still cling on to those relationships that drain us. We still cling on to careers that sometimes feel so suffocating, but that's all that we've known forever. We cling on to those identities that no longer fit us. They may have served us at some point, but we've grown beyond that. We cling on to those expectations that never were truly ours. We've been living this life somebody else wants us to live. And we're clinging on to the what ifs, the should haves, would haves, must do's, right? We're just like holding on because that's all that we know. We glorify it, we normalize it, and we call that responsibility. We call that sacrifice. That's loyalty. That's your strength. But here's the quiet truth. Clinging on isn't strength. Clinging is fear wearing a mask. And fear, when unexamined, becomes exhaustion, anxiety, overthinking, burnout. You just become numb. You become emotionally numb. And that silent ache that whispers, there's got to be more to life than this. This is where so many brilliant women find themselves. They're broken inside, but still functioning on the outside. They're successful on the outside, but they're disconnected from their inner selves on the inside. They're admired, but they are misaligned. And that misalignment is not a flaw. It's just a message. It's a signal. It's a sacred invitation for you to pause and return home. I found this something really nice that I want to read out from a Facebook post that popped up on my feed. It's Winnie the Pooh. We all love Winnie the Pooh. And he's looking at his own reflection at some point when he must have paused and he comes to terms with his younger self. So he's looking at his own reflection and looking at his own younger self, just like how we write letters to our 16-year-old self. Here's what it says. Sometimes life brings you to a quiet place, a place where you finally meet the version of yourself you've been carrying for years. The tired one, the lonely one, the one who's tried so hard to be the brave even when the world felt too heavy. Yuri looked at his younger self by the water as a reminder that somewhere beneath the sadness, beneath the weariness, beneath the quiet sighs, there is still a little heart that once believed in better days, a heart that hoped, a heart that tried again and again, even when things didn't turn out the way it wished. Maybe this moment is about forgiveness. Forgiving the younger you for not knowing everything. Forgiving the current you for feeling overwhelmed. Forgiving yourself for just being a human. You've carried so much more than anyone realizes. You've walked through the storms you never spoke about. You held on even on days you whispered, I can't do this. And still, here you are. Look closely at the reflection. Both versions of you are worthy of love, patience, and gentleness. Both deserve, both versions deserve healing. And perhaps that is the greatest truth of all of this. The person you are today is not broken. They are the survivor of every moment that tried to break them. So be kind to yourself. Be kind to every version of you who's been trying. I absolutely fell in love with this because that's exactly how many of us feel, right? So how do we break out of this vicious cycle of exhaustion, overwork, and holding on to relationships, careers that don't even serve us anymore? It can be challenging, but it's absolutely necessary for our well-being and success. And to check in with yourself and ensure that inner alignment meaning between your head and your heart, I invite you to do a quick exercise. Right? We did this in one of the workshops. Place one hand on your head and one hand on your heart. Take a few deep breaths and just focus on the connection between your head and your heart. Notice if there's any discomfort. Are you feeling any tension in either area? Right? Because when the head and the heart is not aligned, what you think and how you feel is not the way you act. So here's some guided questions for reflection to help you just get realigned and gain the courage to break free from these patterns. They do not serve us anymore. So reflect on your current state. How do you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? We have so many facets of personalities within us. So check in with yourself on a daily basis. Are you constantly in that mode of being tired, stressed, unfulfilled? Imagine how does this impact your overall well-being and performance. Secondly, explore your motivations. What is it that's driving you to overwork or stay in situations that no longer serve you? Are you seeking validations, approvals of external approvals, or success at the cost of your own health and happiness? What beliefs are holding you back from making changes? Thirdly, assess your relationships. Are the people around you, is that tribe supporting your growth and your well-being, or are they the ones that drain your energy and hold you back? Do they make you feel empowered? Actually, they cannot make you feel empowered. You should feel empowered and respected in your relationships. Or do you feel obligated and just trapped? Fourthly, examine your career path. Does this career, it may have been great at some point, but we all outgrow our careers. So is your current career aligning with your values, your passions, your long-term goals? Or are you staying in a job just out of fear of change or lack of confidence in your ability to pursue something that's maybe better suited for you? Fifth, consider this cycle of comfort in discomfort. Many of us have become so used to just being in uncomfortable situations, but ask yourselves why. What patterns of beliefs have kept you stuck in that cycle? And how is this impacting your personal and professional growth? Invite yourselves, the sixth point, visualize your future, ideal future. If you were to break free from this pattern, what would your life look like? How would you feel, think, and act differently? And what steps can you take now to move towards that vision? Last but not the least, cultivate courage and resilience. And it doesn't mean taking like these big steps to just jump the bridge, but small baby steps. What small actions can you take today to start breaking free from that vicious cycle? How do you build resilience and courage to step out of your comfort zone and make positive changes in life? Right? Because what you cling on to hurts. The fall season teaches us that nature doesn't cling. Not just the leaves that keep falling down in the fall season, but even like look at the fruits. When they ripen, they just like plop, they just drop, right? Trees don't negotiate with the leaves. They don't fear losing beauty. Like, if I drop these leaves that make me so beautiful, am I going to look ugly? No. Trees don't panic at the thought of emptiness. They just trust. They release and they prepare for renewal. But we just love to cling on. And we cling on in two major ways. One is we cling on to what we fear losing. We hold on to relationships that diminish us. We hold on to jobs that make us feel hollow. We hold on to patterns that exhaust us or identities that shrink us. We just hold on to it, sometimes even memories. We carry those wounds. Yes, they wounded us at one point in time. That's over. That's past. It's gone. But we hold on to that memory and keep on bringing that up over and over again, just clinging for what? And then these expectations that just strangle us, right? We convince ourselves like, oh my gosh, I can't let go because a known devil is better than an unknown one. But is it really? Is the familiar really worth sacrificing for your peace, your joy, your sanity? Clinging creates resistance, and resistance creates suffering. Let me repeat this. If you were to just let go versus clinging on, you are clinging on and creating resistance towards what life is trying to bring to you. But because you're clinging, you're not letting that come to you. You're not letting that reach you. And this energy of clinging just feels like being forced. When you cling, there's tightness in different parts of your body. Sometimes your shoulders tighten up. Sometimes your abdomen, you just like feel so clinging. Sometimes people who have lower back problems, that's where they experience that tightness. There's anxiety, there's hesitation, there's self-doubt, there's fear, there's just disconnection. That feeling of being forced is just the opposite of what otherwise would have been a flow, right? The second way we cling on is we cling on to the expected outcomes. Bhagavad Gita has taught us over and over again in the Karma Siddhanta, which we've visited so many times. The law of karma says, just do your action, do not cling on to the outcome. But we focus so much on the outcome because we wanted to, whatever we do, we expect a certain outcome. And it's that attachment that quietly breaks down even the strongest of us. We want life to unfold exactly how we imagine it to be, in the time frame that we prefer, with the results that we expect, right? We do the work and then we anxiously wait, chasing the reward. The Karma Siddhanta has made it very clear, focus on your job. Your job is action, not on the outcome. So when we fixate so much on the outcome, that's when you feel anxious, you feel inadequate, you feel rushed, you feel pressured, and you feel overworked and you're disconnected from your intuition. Outcomes were never in your jurisdiction. That leave it to the divine timing, leave it to the universe to figure out how to give you your fruits of action. Trust the process that those fruits will come to you whether you like it or not. But if you keep forcing those outcomes, that's when life becomes an exhausting chase and it doesn't become a meaningful experience. Attachment to that outcome is very subtle. Sometimes we don't even realize it, but it just suffocates our peace. It tells us that I won't be okay till I get what I want. But fall whispers something else. You can be okay now. Just trust the unfolding and you can surrender. You don't have to give up. Just surrender. Keep your palms open. Like when you cling, we've used this in workshops where we use sand or water. When you try to cling on, all of it just like flows out from your fist. But if you leave your palms just open, imagine how much sand or water you could hold, right? So do not try to cling on, expecting to hold on to it. And classic example of we always do a root cause analysis. So what's the root cause of our pain? I think if we boil down everything, that the exhaustion, the emotional stress, the burnout, it all comes from one source. That's that misalignment between what we feel and what we say. When that head and heart is not aligned, you may be feeling something, but your heart tells you one thing, your head pulls you in a different direction. What comes out of your mouth is completely different. It's a misalignment between what we desire versus what you pursue. So many of us, especially in the Indian community, I used to always make this joke. You're either a doctor, a dentist, or a disappointment, right? You may not desire to be a doctor or a dentist or an engineer or, whatever the masses are following. Maybe what if you were just interested in something that was not one of these three things that everybody else pursues, right? That misalignment between what we know and how we act, between what we need versus what we tolerate, right? We all say we want peace, but our thoughts are chaotic. We say we want confidence, but actions are driven by fear. We say we want respect, but we don't even respect our own boundaries. We build our goals from a place of pressure, and we expect joy to greet us on the other end. How? Right? Life does not respond to your effort, but it responds to the energy that you carry. Life does not respond to the force that you bring in, but to the alignment that you have brought in. This is the litmus test that the universe uses. Are your thoughts, words, actions moving in the same direction, or are they at war with each other? In Hanuman Chalisa, we always say, Mana, Krama, Vachana, Dhyana, Jo Lyave. Right? All of those have to be aligned. Because when the heart and the mind, they split in opposite directions, our energy is also dissipated. And that split energy cannot create a wholesome life. Alignment is not doing more, but it's just being congruent. And once you get this, once you truly understand this, everything begins to change. You'll see how you change you don't have to force it anymore. You just allow it to flow. When you loosen your grip, when you stop clinging, when you trust enough to just let go, something beautiful happens. Space appears, stillness emerges, life begins to breathe again. Because the truth is, life cannot flow where we keep creating blockages. You cannot receive anything new while you're still holding on to those old patterns. How often have you heard this, right? You cannot keep pouring into a bowl that is already full, right? So you have to empty it. You have to let go. You cannot hear your own intuition when your mind is loud with those what ifs and all those analysis paralysis that you put yourself to. You cannot find clarity when your energy is that of chaotic. You cannot heal while you're still clinging on to those old wounds. So life, or rather letting go, isn't about being just passive and saying, okay, I don't know, I'm not going to hold on anymore. It's not about passivity. It's actually one of the most courageous acts of self-respect. The moment you let go, even just a little, remember those baby steps. The moment you release even one emotional burden, one expectation, one fear, that's when you create space for miracles to enter. Miracles are just waiting to happen. They are just one alignment away, right? So if clinging on was the cause of our pain, the solution is release, align, and just allow things to happen. Simple 3-step process. that can shift you from being broken to being balanced, from being being in that survival mode to just letting life flow. Go with the flow is what we keep saying, but how many of us really do it, right? So step one, release that emotional baggage. You cannot move forward if you're carrying everything behind you, right? You don't need like that backpack of all your past. You do not need to weigh yourself down with those old disappointments, your regrets, your unspoken hurt, those unhealed emotions, those wounds that you carry. They don't just weigh you down. They fill up the space where you could have so many new beginnings waiting for things to happen, waiting for new blessings to land. So every emotion that you release creates clarity. Every fear you let go brings you strength, because everything that you want is always on the other side of fear. So releasing doesn't mean you forget what happened to you. It's just freeing yourself so that you can rise again. And if nature can do this so effortlessly, even we should be able to do it. So learn from nature. That was step one, release. Step two is now align your energy, right? So if you're seeking love, this alignment, I've said it many times, it's not about the external thing, but your internal reality is just reflecting in your external circumstances, right? So if you want to see love, show it to yourself first. If you want to see respect, honor your own boundaries. If you want to experience peace, quieten your own mind. If you want to show up with confidence, you live in integrity. If you want more clarity, create space for it. If you want joy on the other side, loosen your control. That's the simplest way of bringing joy. You have to become the energy of what you want. Do not expect it on the outside. The universe does not respond to words. Just repeating affirmations like, for abundance, money flows to me easily. But yet you live in scarcity. Oh my gosh, how am I going to pay my bills? Oh, do I have enough in my bank account? If you live in that energy, the universe responds to that energy that you live in. So you have to become the energy of what you want to experience, whatever you desire. So when your inner world shifts, your outer world recalibrates itself. So that was step two, is to align your energy. So now you've released it, you've aligned it. Third step is just allow life to flow. Allowing is not giving up. Allowing is trusting the rhythm of life, trusting that trusting in the divine timing, not your expected timing. You have to trust the unfolding of events. If life is throwing some challenges at you, you just have to trust it. Life is not trying to beat you down. It's just trying to teach you a lesson. So trust your intuition. Trust that what was meant for you will always, always, always come to you. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to force it to make it happen, because chasing implies fear. So guess what energy are you operating out of? It's that energy of fear. If you are in that energy of fear, what are you expecting on the outside? Get it? So stop chasing, drop that fear, and allowing comes from faith. Have faith in yourself. It's not faith as in a religious faith, but faith in your own self. Faith is not blind. Faith is being deeply aware. And faith is aligned with reality, not with expectations. So faith opens doors that fear can't even see. That's where you experience the power of stillness. Because now all of this mumble jumble that was going on, you've released it. Now is when you get time to just be still. Stillness is not inactivity. Stillness is just presence. being present. It is the moment when your mind quietens down, your heart softens, your intuitions, actually, you can listen to your intuition, and your energy becomes much more clearer. Your essence becomes visible. Stillness is where you get to see your own reflection, and stillness is where you remember who you truly are. You are not that overachiever. You are not that performer. You are not the fixer-upper. You are not the caretaker. You're not the role you play or the masks that you wear. You are the presence beneath all of that. You are the one that is always whole, that has always been enough, that has always been at peace. Stillness is your true home. That's your inner home. And when you return to your inner home, that's when life just begins to flow effortlessly towards you instead of running away from you. That breakthrough moment of when you finally let go, when you release what was never meant to stay with you, the moment when you align your choices with your truth, the moment when you stop forcing and simply start flowing, the moment when you trust instead of being fearful, when you allow instead of trying to cling, when you choose presence over pressure, that's when you begin to rise effortlessly, joyfully, naturally. And life starts responding to you differently. Suddenly you find the right people appear, the right opportunities show up, the right path becomes visible, the right divine timing reveals itself. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. And that is a miracle of inner alignment. So I think that's really the fall season's gift, remembering who you are. It teaches us that losing leaves is not losing life, it's just preparing us for renewal. We are also preparing ourselves for a renewal, not by working harder, not by forcing our way forward, not by clinging on to what's exhausting, but by gently releasing, softening, trusting, and returning inward to the home that's always the best place to be, the home within us. Because here's the truth you may have forgotten: you are not broken, you are burdened, and burdens can be released. You are not lost, you are layered, that scaffolding that we've looked earlier. And layers can be shed. You are not failing, you are simply transforming. And transformations, they always begin with letting go. So fall season reminds us that letting go is not the end. It's the beginning of becoming. When you truly let go, you don't fall apart, but you fall in alignment. You fall into clarity. You fall into purpose. You fall into the flow. You fall into peace. You fall into just yourself. And you fall into the life that was always meant for you. So the invitation of this season, as you see the leaves change colors, as you start becoming aware of their graceful descent, as the air cools down and the light softens, as nature releases without resistance, let this season be a metaphor, a reminder, your gentle invitations to unclench your heart, soften your grip, release the weight, trust your path, align with your truth, and come back home. You don't have to break to begin again. You just have to let go of what keeps you from seeing how whole you already are. When we say you are enough, we truly mean you are enough. You don't have to go from You can go from being broken. If you feel that's how you feel, you can go from broken to balanced. You can go from chaos to clarity, from being forced into just flowing with going with the flow, and from clinging to becoming. Take this as your season. This is your season. This is your moment. This is your homecoming, return home. And I am here as your fellow traveler, your guide, as a sister on your path to simply remind you life flows when you flow. Peace arrives when you create space. Miracles appear when you align. And everything that you're seeking is already inside of you. You just have to be in that space internally for it to appear externally. So welcome home and welcome back to yourself. Welcome to the inner home path. Remember, true success and fulfillment come from aligning with your authentic self, living in harmony with your values and purpose. It does take courage to break free from the limiting beliefs and patterns, but the rewards are truly living a life that's true to yourself. Those rewards are immeasurable. So just trust the process, trust in your inner wisdom, and take those necessary steps to create the life that brings joy, meaning, and fulfillment. Trust the process. I'm going to repeat that many, many times. I even have a short form, TTP, trust the process, and let go those fears, those doubts, everything that's holding you back. Release anything that doesn't serve you anymore. Just like how the trees release those leaves. Renewals and new beginnings are waiting for you. They are only one alignment away, one release away. So remember the power of alignment between your head and your heart. That can lead to so much success and fulfillment, both in your personal and professional lives. So if this episode resonates with you, please like and follow the channel and share it with someone else who may benefit. Leave me a comment or send me an email at maneesha@myyatra.vip. Thank you so much for joining. And let's close with our closing prayers, reminding us of the wholeness that already exists. Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Harihi Om.